Arizona passes historic bill. Tether has 7.7 tons of gold. Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges at a rapid rate, and El Salvador is still buying Bitcoin despite the IMF. Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? My name is Desert Crypto, and welcome to Crypto Nightly, where we bring you the daily news nightly. So let's go ahead and get into it with a little bit of a market update. And we're coming over here to CoinGecko. As you can see, we're down 0.6% today, but we are above $3 trillion, coming in at 3.082 trillion. 3 trillion was a massive support point until we lost it. It is nice to see us back above it. We're coming in at 101 billion in volume today, with Bitcoin dominance at 61.2% and Ethereum at 7%. Looking at the top 10, we got Bitcoin coming in at $95,043, up 1.5. We got Ethereum at 1801, up 1.2. We got XRP at $2.30, up 1.9. BNB at 606, up 0.3. Solana at 147 flat on the day. We got Dogecoin at 1789, up 0.2. Cardano at 70 cents, up 0.4. And Tron rounding out the top 10, coming in at 2491, up 1.8%. And we love SWE around this channel, so we got to check out SWE. SWE's coming in at 353, up 0.5, with a massive pump on the 7-day, up 60%. We go into the stock market. Let's see what's going on. It looks like pre-market is pretty much flat. Everything's in the red, but it's negligible. We got Dow down 12 points, S&P down 4.25, NASDAQ down 23.5, and then oil and the 10-year coming in. Let's see what Asia is doing. It looks like the Australian index is at up 29 points, and the Nikkei is up 134 points. We do have some upcoming things tomorrow that you should be aware of, and that is going to be the JOLTS job openings report. Comes out tomorrow at 7 a.m. So this is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Number of job openings during the reported month, excluding the farming industry. And it says actual greater than forecast is good for currency. As you can see, we have our last month on April 1st, we came in under the forecast, coming in at 7.57, and the forecast today is 7.49. So the forecast is actually less than our actual. So hopefully we come in about the same on that. Now let's go over to Bitcoin and see what Bitcoin is doing. If we look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, you can see that we did finally break the 200 MA back on Tuesday with a nice massive pump. And we just kind of been creating this ascending channel right here, coming up like that. We do have the 21 getting ready to pass the 200, but our Stokes are extremely overbought and the RSI is in the overbought territory. So I do kind of expect a little bit of a pullback. It doesn't mean we're going to dump and give up all them precious gains, but we could see a pullback coming back as the 21 makes its way and gives us a bullish cross above the 200. You know, the 21 is a magnet. It does like to come back and sit on the 21. So other than that, let's see what the 4 hour is showing us. The 4 hour is still showing us more potential upside. So we have retested the 21. We're kind of riding that to the side. There is a little bit of hesitation in the market as a lot of earnings reports are getting ready to come out from Q1. But you can see the Stokes have switched and started back to the upside, and the RSI has broken the median line and is pointed to the upside. So still looking good on Bitcoin. We could see a little bit of a retest on the daily 21, but I would not be too worried about it. And let's get into some of the news. So we got the Arizona legislature passes Bitcoin reserve bill, governor approval pending. And if we go through this, we can see that Arizona became the first state in the nation to pass legislation creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve after both the chambers of the legislature approved the measure in votes that broke largely along party lines. So it is still uncertain whether Katie Hobbs, the governor of Arizona, is going to pass or sign or veto this, because the bill did pass on a 29-25 in the House and 31-25 in the Senate, with 4 lawmakers not voting in the Senate. And this was passed primarily on party lines, and it was a Republican introduced bill. Katie Hobbs is Democrat. And she also has some other things going, saying she recently pledged to veto all bills sent to her desk until the state legislature passes a new budget. Hobbs has not commented specifically on SB 1025, but has remained firm in her broader veto stance, throwing uncertainty over the bill's prospects. So we will see if she actually signs or vetoes it. There is a bunch of arguments both ways. And I love how this just popped up for no reason. But either way, so there are arguments both ways, where some people are saying that Bitcoin is too volatile, that it's gambling, we can't do that. And then on the other side, Bitcoin is the number one asset ever created, in my opinion. So it is a very good hedge against inflation. Going on, we got Tether gold token backed by 7.7 tons of physical gold, says report. So Tether recently had an audit. They had a third-party audit by BDO Italia, and they come back saying the gold-backed stablecoin Tether Gold. I don't know why they call it a stablecoin when it's just a synthetic gold token. I don't understand that, but gold-backed stablecoin Tether Gold's total market value recently soared above 800 million as investors continued embracing the safe haven assets amid concerns over rising inflation. With a newly released attestation from a third-party auditing firm showing just how much gold that Tether is stockpiling to back the token. And then it goes on to talk about the cryptocurrency hit 770 million in capitalization on March 31st, backed by more than 7.7 tons. And this is when we were trading at 31.25 as of the day, up 9%. So, but as of this writing, it has climbed to 3,344, giving the market cap 825 million. So it's good to see. I like that we have more options. I do like to see the tokenization of gold, but this is yet to be determined. There's a lot of backstories behind Tether, and do they really have the assets to back everything? But according to this third-party auditor, they do have 7.7 tons of physical gold. So next thing, and the supply shrinks. Bitcoin exchange supply reaches 7-year low as traders hunker down. The declining exchange balances and increasing fund inflows points to a renewed phase of accumulation. And we can see this, the price just kind of Trump and the tariffs and this and that. And then he pauses the tariffs, and then the markets just explode, right? And you can see that Bitcoin is flying off the exchanges. So the total supply on exchanges has reached its lowest level in 7 years after dropping to 2.488 million Bitcoin on Friday. So a little over 10% of the total supply of Bitcoin is still on exchanges, but this is the lowest we've seen in 7 years. So the reserves currently sit at 2.492 million, having increased around 40,000 Bitcoin over the weekend. Yet level remains at its lowest since October 2018, according to CryptoQuant data. And it is, in my opinion, that these are about to shrink even more now that they have freed up and loosened the regulation about banks owning crypto and everything like that. It's just a matter of time before banks start buying crypto to have on their balance sheet. They start custodying it for their high profile customers. It's just going to get more scarce. So, and speaking of scarce and Bitcoin, El Salvador is still buying Bitcoin despite IMF compliance. How, you say? El Salvador's Bitcoin stash grows to 6161 Bitcoin as the IMF begins its first program review tied to economic and fiscal reforms. And looking through this, so they added another 32 Bitcoin last month, bringing its total holdings to 6,161, worth about 584 million. The country remains officially compliant with IMF restrictions by channeling purchases outside the physical sector, according to the IMF official. A first IMF program review is underway, focusing on broader fiscal reforms and the economic stability. So the IMF is really not liking this. They gave El Salvador an ultimatum quite a while ago on what they're going to do. You know, you're not going to get the money if you keep buying Bitcoin. So apparently Nayib Bukele, he has found a way around this, but now the IMF is starting to look into it a little more. In terms of El Salvador, let me say that I can confirm that they continue to comply with their commitment of non-accumulation of Bitcoin by the overall fiscal sector, which is the performance criteria that we have. IMF Western Hemisphere Department Director Rodrigo Valdez said during his Saturday press briefing for the Regional Economic Outlook. While the IMF rules have frozen direct government Bitcoin purchases, El Salvador's Bitcoin operates in a space technically outside the fiscal sector defined boundaries, allowing the country to continue buying small daily amounts without breaching the loan deal. So, you know it, we know it. Nayib is not going to quit buying Bitcoin, and that's just the way it is. Bitcoin is the future. It is the hedge against inflation. And, now is the time to buy. So that's all we got for tonight. Do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, tap that notification bell, share this with your friends. If you like these kind of updates, leave a comment and let us know. Y'all have a great night.
Join us at Rare Evo, the top blockchain conference, August 6th through 10th, 2025 at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. The top blockchain projects like Algorand, Midnight, HBAR, ICP, Thorchain, and Igon, and many more are going to be there. This is definitely a must for blockchain enthusiasts and fans. Use discount code CryptoNightly to save on your tickets and to support the channel. Don't miss it. We can't wait to see you there. It's going to be a blast.